Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing a story time. Now this happened to me about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, roughly. I'm just posting and telling you about this story time because this happened to me. So guys, this happened to me in 2015, 3 years ago, when I first moved up here. So let me just give you a bit of a backstory before I get into the juicy stuff. I moved to Townsville, where I live now, in 2015 with my family. Basically I started at a high school up here that I'm not gonna name for, don't want to get anyone in trouble. Started at a high school, knew a few people, and then it was all good, and I met this one guy. So I'm not going to use his name, so let's just call him Dylan. So I met Dylan in 2015. He was a year older than me, or 2 years older than me. So if I keep looking over here, he's 2 years older than me. We were dating for a while, and then things started to become obsessive and just not a nice relationship to be in. So cut that all off. We continued to be friends for a while. That's when I got into, skipping school and, all the drugs and alcohol, and that's for another story time. But basically, yeah, just skipping school. My parents don't know where I am. So things leading up to this event would probably be just, being just missing. I'll be at home, but I won't be there in my head. I was just really messed up. We ended up dating off and on for the next couple of months. And then this one day, we were hanging out and he decided to bring some mates with him, which, we used to hang out by ourselves, and, all was good. This one specific day, he decided to bring his mates with him. Well, I don't know these mates, and obviously he'd spoken to them before all of this. And, they were not nice mates. They brought to the day knives, alcohol, just drugs, everything like that. So I kind of just went along with it, as I do, because they were always 2 years older than me, so I couldn't really do anything. They were bigger than me. I just thought it was cool because I was hanging out with all these guys. So we kind of just went and got some food, went and hung out at the park, just have a good old time. Now, I started to feel a bit iffy, and I turned to Dylan and I said, look, can we go for a walk? He's like, yeah, sure, we'll go for a walk. And I was thinking, oh yeah, just around the corner, because there was another park around the corner. Oh no, we walked from one of the parks here all the way to the other side of the suburb that I used to live in. And basically we went, of course by that time I was feeling a bit lightheaded and I just wasn't feeling myself. And then he proceeded to, take me down this path. And I was like, okay, whatever, secluded area, probably be good so no one finds me when I can school. And then things took a turn for the worst. He basically took me down this embankment and just, proceeded to ask me questions I couldn't answer, like, do you know where we are? How do you feel? Of course, I had no idea where we are. Like, I just moved Townsville, Of course I couldn't answer. I was like, no, I don't know where we are. So I answered his question. He's like, turned around and said, okay, good. And I was thinking, whatever. Like, I couldn't really stand by this point. And I was thinking, oh, it's just like, because I'd been drinking with him that day. And, just thinking it's that. And then he asked me how I feel. And I was like, oh, I feel kind of dizzy. And he goes, okay then. So he kind of like leaves me in one spot, walks about 100 meters to the left, and then he goes, okay, let's go. And we kind of just like started walking to the right, and there was this drain. Lots of people watching my video will know what this drain is. Started walking to this drain. I'd never been to this drain before. I had no idea where it was until after this day. So we went to this drain. He kind of put like our stuff down because he was carrying my bag. Put our stuff down, and it had kind of like walls on it so no one can see on the side of the drain. It's a big drain, like big. And then he kind of like put our stuff down, as I said, and then he sat in the drain, where we all sit. And I went and sat along, it was along the river. So I went and sat on the rocks right next to the river, and I was sitting there just having a conversation with him, and he says to me, come here. And I was like, no, I don't feel too good. And he's like, no, come here. And he was getting really aggressive, and I was like, I really have to leave. Like, I couldn't stand up. I was just out of it. And by that time, I'd kind of worked out that he drugged me. So by that point, I was just like, oh no, like, what's gonna happen to me? He kind of stood up out of the drain and grabbed me by my arms and dragged me into the drain and proceeded to, do stuff to me. I won't get too graphic because there's a younger audience, but I then proceeded to try and get up and run away. Mind you, in my bag I had a laptop. I didn't have a phone at this point because my phone was broken and getting fixed. So I didn't have a phone. I just had a laptop, my bag, my school stuff. So I kind of didn't even think and just ran and left my bag there. At that point, he proceeded to run after me and grab my leg, and I have fallen face first onto the dirt. And then he's dragged me back down to the drain walls where no one could see, and he has said to me, I have made sure no one can hear you scream. So no one could hear me. This was a secluded area. And then he put the knife that I thought he had left with his mates, he had put the knife up to my throat and had told me that if I screamed he was going to, cut me. And me being me, I was like, oh my God, like, I didn't know what was happening to me. And at this school that I used to go to, a few people would know, we had to wear skirts. So of course, I only had a skirt on. So he, with his hand pushing me up against this wall, like my face was up against the wall, he proceeded to do more stuff to me. It seriously felt like a nightmare, like that I couldn't wake up from. And then basically after he was finished, he kind of just got up, put his clothes back on, helped me put my clothes on, and then proceeded to say, okay, let's go. And by this time he had showed me his watch and it was end of school. So every afternoon I had to walk home, or my parents would pick me up. This specific day I was planning with my friends to walk home. Mind you, me and Dylan weren't together, so my parents had no idea who I was hanging out with. So Dylan had left a big hickey on my neck, and when I walked in the door, my parents were there. My mum turned around and said to me, like, what's that on your neck? And I just lied and said, oh, a couple of friends, we'll muck around at school. She goes, okay, cool, blew it off completely. And then basically I went out with my friends, as you do. We went out for dinner, I think it was, and just had like a nice night. My friends stayed over. And then the next day, was the weekend. My grandparents came up. I was scared. Like, couldn't sleep. I was just scared because he knew where I lived. Like, and he's like a master hacker. He can break into houses. Like, he's a proper criminal. And I was scared. Like, I was scared shitless. So, of course, because I was so scared of him, anything he told me to do, I'd drop everything and run to him. Because, I was scared of him. So I stayed with him off and on, off and on, off and on for about 2 years. So that brings us to 2017. So basically, no, I stayed with him for a year. So that brings us 2016. In 2016, off and on, off and on, off and on. It wouldn't let me go near anyone else. Had to be him. Just bad stuff happened. My dad, my nan, and my pop came up. This was about 2 months later after this incident happened. Let's backtrack a bit more. My nan and pop came up and had said to me, we're going home now. Like, they'd been up here for 2 weeks, I think it was. And they're like, okay, we're going home now. And I said, well, can I come with you? Because that's what our plan was. I was to come with them. And they said, no, because you've been so bad at school, you have to stay. And I lost it. I was crying and screaming, and I just couldn't get my head around it. And of course, this guy, Dylan, was messaging me at the time, and he was just telling me all these bad things that he was going to do. So, you know, I lost it. I then blurted out to my nan what had happened. And by that point, she just bawled her eyes out. Like, she was scared for me. And then she proceeded to tell my mum. Now, my mum had the same thing happen to her. So, you know, she knew how I felt. My dad, on the other hand, my dad went off. Let's just say my dad was not happy. By that point, I'd lost all contact with him. Just a few weeks later, I lost all contact with him. Went to the doctors. Because, you know, you have to wait for a doctor's appointment. Next week, I went to the doctors. Doctor basically asked me these questions, like what had happened, you know, got the police involved. Now, lots of people know police don't do really anything. So, police got involved. I had to go to the police station. And I was there for 3 hours doing a statement. Now, it didn't really help that it was like 2 months. I was doing this statement 2 months after the incident. Did not work in my favour. So I did my statement, ended up leaving the cops at 11:30 at night, I think it was. And yeah, so that didn't go too well. I was sent for exams, like see if there's anything left on my body. Of course there wasn't because of how long ago it was. And I was expecting, I did not hear anything back from them for about a month, maybe 2 months. And at that point I was scared because, you know, oh no, have I done something wrong? And then one day they came and knocked on my door and asked for me. I went out and I was really unwell this day. I'd started dating someone new. It was just, I was happy. And they proceeded to tell me that I could be charged, and, you know, it was his word against mine. He was older than me. He had witnesses, all this shit. So the reason I could get charged was for the photos that I was sending. Yes, I regret sending those photos. I really do. And I don't want any hate for that. I'm just telling you my story. So they proceeded to go through their iPad and show me the photos and said, is this you, is this you, is this you? Of course, it was me. And I'm not going to lie to them, I said yes. I did not get charged, and they dropped the case completely. Like, I had no case against them because I had no evidence, nothing. By then I was just so shaken up. I'd broken up with this guy that made me completely and utterly happy. Not gonna put his name out there, but And then I proceeded to go back to the doctors because I fell in a heap because of all this mess. And then I ended up going, my doctor referred me to an adolescent mental health unit. Now I stayed there for about a week and a half. By the end of it, I was just ready to get out. Yet I should have stayed in there. It was alright, you know, you get your own room. It was good. It was basically just like a care facility. Like, it was good. Didn't feel like a hospital, nothing. The nurses were so nice. You get good food sometimes. Just everything. And I got discharged. Can't remember the date. It was 2016. Kind of halfway through. And got discharged. You weren't allowed to have phones in the unit, so, you know, I had no contact with the outside world. Got my phone back the day I got discharged, and he had messaged me again. And stupid me replied to him. So, of course, he was niggling up my life again, telling me and dictating to me what I can and can't do. Now, by this point, he was telling me to run away from home and all this. Of course, I did it. I ran away from home. I got back into drugs and alcohol. It was just a mess. I got out and was worse than when I went in. I regret that. Speed this up so the video is not too long. Basically just niggling at my life. Just niggling. I've been in so many other relationships since him. Some happy, not so happy. Some happy and some not so happy relationships, but you know, it's safe to say he has wrecked my future relationships because he has made me not be able to trust guys. And that's really sad. Basically, where we stand to this day is we haven't spoken for about a month and a half. We went back to being friends. He got in a relationship. I got in a relationship. I've been in a relationship for nearly just over a year. I'm engaged. I'm happy. And my feelings today, I still have nightmares about it. I still have mental health problems. On a daily basis, I still wish everything would end. I'm medicated, but, you know, when something like that happens, medication doesn't really work. So I just hope, you know, this video cleared everything up for you guys and helped some of you girls out there that may have gone through it, or may be still going through it. And just some of the warning signs to look out for is being controlling. If your partner is controlling, get out of there, you know, because at the end of the day, you don't deserve that. I'm not saying all situations will end up like my situation, but most do. So I just want everyone to take what I said into consideration, and just, I'm not making this video, you know, to make it, oh, poor me. I'm not. I'm making this video to raise awareness for all these other girls out there that don't get the support that I got. To this day, I still don't really talk to my parents. Don't talk to a lot of people that I used to talk to because it wrecked friendships and relationships. You know, my life at the moment is crap. I don't go to school anymore. I don't have a job. Just, it's really shit. But please like and subscribe to this video and comment down below for a shout out in my next video.